Hey there, true crime friends. It's time again. It's time for lunchtime true crime. You know what you need to do. Grab a fork, grab a napkin, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Look, today we need to talk about Miss Lupita de Leon. Look, down here in, I forget what town in Texas, someplace in Texas, sits a nice lady named nice is questionable. And now I'm going to tell you why. By the time Lupita was like 35, she had 2 divorces and 5 kids under her belt. That's a lot of divorces. That's a lot of kids. But okay, live your life. She's trying to get by. She's working a job, doing everything. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, this dude, Jose, was married to a lady named Alma. And they decided, you know what? This is not working out. So let's divorce. So they break up. And Lupita is like, let me just go to this bar. Oh, who was that cute dude over there? Hey, Jose, how you doing? And so they start dating. Lupita was like, I got me a new boyfriend. And he's nice and he's kind and he's good with children, especially my children. So they start dating and everything was going good. Meanwhile, Jose's ex-wife is like, look, Texas is not for me. I see you over there with your new woman. So I'm going to move to Louisiana. So she moves to Louisiana. Here's the thing, though. Her and Jose don't get divorced. So I'm like, okay, you can do it. Look, that's called a hood divorce, where you break up and you stay apart for 25 years, but you never legally get divorced because divorces cost money. So they just broke up. And so periodically, Alma would bring the kids back to see their father because these kids love their father. And what child doesn't need both parents around or as many people to love them around as they can get? Okay, fine. So it's this nice blended family. Only Lupita was a little bit jealous. She's like, why your wife got to be here? Why she bringing these kids over here? And Jose was like, calm down, mija. Like, it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be beautiful. We love each other. Everything is going good. And Lupita was like, okay, whatever. So Jose and Lupita start fighting. They're on again, off again, on again, off again. During the times that they were on, things were really good. Only word on the street was Jose was like a little bit scared of Lupita. Sometimes when they would go out on the weekends or whatever for a date, they would go to the flea market dances. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? The flea market has dances. How'd that work? I'm unclear. So they're back and forth to the little flea market dances and the kids and everything is moving around. Life is very busy. And then one day out there in the woods, on the countryside, a farmhand sees a fire. And he's like, okay, sometimes people burn trash. But then he was like, wait, normally when people burn trash, the smoke is white. That smoke is black. I suspect something fishy is going on. So the cops are like, okay, we'll get out there when we get out there. You know, it's a border town. It's probably just like a drug crime. We're not worried about it. Eventually they mosey on out there and they're like, oh, it's a truck that's on fire. And not just like a little tiny flame, a big fire burned pure down to the primer. And they were like, okay, let's put this fire out. Wait. Is that a dead body? We see a dead body. Okay, we're going to call a medical examiner in here. They're going to come and they're going to take a look around and see if they find any bullets or investigate the scene. And they were like, okay, this dude has been beat up and stabbed a whole bunch of times. They were like, oh, so he didn't unalive himself. Clearly somebody has unalived him and set him aflame, because they were thinking it would be a lot easier if he unalived himself, because that's a much easier case to investigate. But in this case, no, the 42 stab wounds tells us there was a perpetrator here. So they go, they contact his next of kin, and his brother was like, what? Oh my goodness. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. He has a wife and he has a girlfriend and they don't get along. And the cops are like, oh, here we go. One of these. Let me guess. A hood divorce. He's separated from the wife. But yeah. Okay. Obviously the wife did it. So first they're like, let's go talk to this sweet girlfriend and just let her know that the wife has unalived him, and then we're going to go from there. So they go find Lupita. They're like, Lupita, girl, you know that dude you was dating, Jose? He did. She was like, what? Oh, full drama. Oh, she went full Meryl Streep. Oh, she was weeping and wailing and moaning and whatever. They were like, okay, girl, we so sorry. We so sorry he's dead. Take good care. Go and make the funeral arrangements. We got to go talk to his wife, who we are pretty sure did it. So they contact the wife, who is in Louisiana, and they're like, hey, Alma, Jose's dead. And she was like, whoa, full drama. And they were like, oh, she put on a good act too. Which one of these? Unclear. So they're, okay, we're going to have to investigate. Dang, Thought this was going to be easy. So Lupita was like, he and I had a lovely, loving relationship. I would not harm a hair on his head. He took good care of me and my 5 children. He even bought us a house. And oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? Oh, this is terrible. And so they were like, okay, thank you for your statement. They wrote it all down. And then they go over and talk to the wife, Alma. And Alma was like, you know it was that trollop Lupita, right? And the cops are like, okay, girl, it seems like it will be you, but we're going to take your statement and we're going to find out. Honey, Alma broke it all down. Alma was like, okay, look, me and Jose had decided to get back together, and Jose bought me a house there in Texas. I was going to move back from Louisiana and move into this house so he and I could be together again and rekindle our family. Meanwhile, Lupita found out, and Lupita was upset. And they were like, okay, how do you know Lupita was upset? How do you know he even told Lupita that he had bought this house for you? Honey, Alma had all the receipts. Alma was like, look, he spent the night here. He spent the night here with me last night here in the local area. And he called Lupita and was like, yeah, Lupita, girl, I'm spending the night with my wife, Alma. And Lupita was like, what? You're not spending the night with your wife, Alma. And she starts calling him and texting him and blowing up his phone back to back to back to back texts and calls, to the point that he was just like, let me just turn this off. So he turned off his phone and locked all the windows and locked all the doors. And he was like, I got to tell you something, boo. Lupita's scary. She's frightening. And I don't know what she might do. We're just going to lock these windows and doors. I'm sure it's going to be fine. And the cops were like, oh, we should take a second look at Lupita. And Alma was like, please do, because now she has clearly unalived my husband, who I loved, even though I was separated from, but we was getting back together. And here's Alma. One of the things you should know, Jose, he had bought me a house to move into, and I went to move my stuff in, and I knocked on the door like, wait, whose car is this in the driveway? Why is there bicycles and stuff over here? And opened the door. Here's Lupita. Lupita was like, yes, this is my house. And Alma was like, no, he bought this house for me and my children. And Lupita was like, right. He told me he bought the house for y'all, but he said that we could stay here until y'all got moved in. Jose, sir, what were you thinking? Let me get this straight. You are dating a woman who you know is crazy. You buy a house for your wife. Okay. And then you let the girlfriend move into the wife's house. You know that lady is crazy. Did you think that this was going to go good for you, Mr. Jose? Or what lies was he telling Lupita? Like, nah. Girl, I bought this house for you. Jose, I am certainly not victim blaming because you did not deserve to get unalived. But this is messy. And I kind of could have, had I known all the details, I would have predicted from the beginning, possibly, that Alma unalived you. But Lupita, she's an excellent second choice. So the cops were like, it's all starting to come together for me now. Okay, Lupita, girl, who's your phone carrier? Who you got? AT&T, you got Verizon, T-Mobile, who you got? And she's like, you cannot have my phone, but I do have T-Mobile, or whatever her carrier was. They were like, okay, thanks so much. We talk to you soon. And then they go over and they get the subpoena, and they subpoena all her phone records. And they're like, oh, look, we can see where she called Jose a couple of 100 times the night before the murder. Calls, texts, whatever. And they could see the text messages that she was sending to Jose that were increasingly angry. Also, they could see other text messages. Oh, yes, they could. They saw text messages to her 19-year-old son and to her brother-in-law that basically were like, meet me down at the beach. And the beach is what they called the reservoir near where Jose's body was found. And the cops were like, okay. This is all coming together for us. Clearly, Miss Lupita has unalived poor Jose, and that's sad. Who gets the house? Does Alma still get to live in the house? Can she afford the mortgage? How many beds and baths did it have? Is there a Zillow listing for it? Really, like, in addition to food, my second obsession is real estate. Oh, I love real estate. So anyway, back to the story. I got distracted by the real estate. Anyway, so Alma is like, okay, I'm gonna move into the house. I mean, I don't know if she actually moved into the house. I just made that part up. But in my mind, she was making delicious food, possibly churros, with chocolate, while living in her house. And Lupita was like, I'm over here in a double wide and they have her in a house. Okay, whatever. The cops are like, don't worry about it, girl. We're going to have some different accommodations for you very, very soon. So based on the text messages, they were like, okay, let's pick up Lupita's son and her brother-in-law, and we're going to take them down to the little jail, and we're going to have a little conversation with them. Lupita's son was only 19 years old, and he was like, "Officer, I'm not good at crime. My mother is very, very scary. And when she gets mad, like she definitely gets her way because we're all terrified of her. And yes, she lured Jose out to the beach and she had us we were supposed to beat him up, but then she commanded us to unalive him, and then she stood and watched, and then we did the whole thing, and I'm very sorry. And then we doused him in gas and we set it on fire. Please, can I go home now?" And they were like, "Thank you for your confession. We're going to write all this down and we're going to read it and just make sure everything is right. Can you initial at the bottom of each page? Thank you. Yeah, yes. You do have the right to remain silent, but you don't have to. Me and you were good friends. And I know where there's some good homemade churros, and we could get you some of those if you just go on and keep initialing these pages and telling your story and sign at the bottom." And he was like, "Okay, thank you so much. I feel so much better now that I've told it all." It's like, oh, it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And they were like, good. We're going to go get the churros and chocolate. And why don't you sit over there in that cell? We're going to make it nice and comfortable for you. We're going to give you the comfortable end of the cement bed that's in there. Go ahead. And then they go to the brother-in-law. And they're like, "Hey, brother-in-law, listen, we know everything that happened because the youngin' over there, he done spilled his whole guts. So what do you have to say?" And the brother-in-law was like, "Oh, this is not my first rodeo. I have committed many, many crimes, and I would like to remain silent. Please get me a lawyer." And the cops were like, "Okay, no problem, because we got that other dude's confession." Then they go to Lupita. They're like, "Lupita girl, yeah, congratulations on raising a good son. He has decency. He has morals. He's confessed to everything. So what you got to say?" And she was like, "Oh, I believe you informed me of my right to remain silent. I would like to exercise my right and remain silent." And they were like, "Okay, great." So she goes off to jail. Alma is unpacking the furniture, making hot homemade churros. Does she make tostadas? Does everybody make that Mexican pizza? Or is that just a Taco Bell thing? So anyway, the trial comes, right? At first, the son and the brother-in-law go to trial. Why did they go to trial? Why didn't they just take a plea? I believe that the son was just like, "I did it. I'm going to go to jail. Please and thank you." The brother-in-law went to trial and was convicted and got life without the possibility of parole. Seems fair. Sir, we have this whole long confession. And so you're going to be going to the big house for a long, long time. But seems like you comfortable there. You probably just blend in this like, okay, this is probably where I was going to end up anyway, because I am a career criminal. And so he went to prison. Sadly, that 19-year-old boy, he's basically going to prison for the rest of his life. They did not execute him, which is nice progress because this was Texas. And in Texas, you like convicted on Monday, shot on Tuesday. According to what I heard, this might not be facts. You're not here for news. You're here for gossip. So anyway, the son and the brother-in-law are tucked safely away over there in prison. Does not seem like a nice place to go, but when you unalive people, that's what happens. And they're like, "Okay, we got everything we need. We're just going to take Miss Lupita to trial, and then that's going to be that." So Lupita is like up there in the courtroom like, "My son and my brother-in-law did terrible things, and I feel very bad about it. I almost could work up a tear, but he did do me wrong. Because that house was nice, and it could be me making churros, and instead it was that heifer and her 5 kids. So, yeah, no. But I will get on the stand and I will testify this was a misunderstanding. I was upset that he was going back to his wife, and I encouraged my son and my brother-in-law to come and beat him up because I was upset, and I didn't know they were going to unalive him. How was I supposed to know?" And the jury was like, right. So they go in the back room and they think about it, and they come back and they're like, "Your Honor, we have a verdict." And the prosecutor was like, "Oh, all in a day's work. Okay, where are we going to go for lunch?" And the jury was like, "We, in the state of Texas, land of executing people on sight, find Lupita not guilty." Child, I was shook. Not guilty. The prosecutors was like, "Wait, what? Not guilty? Not guilty? How is she?" Yeah. And Lupita was like, "See, I told you it was a misunderstanding." And the prosecutor, "But we had the text messages, but we had you arranged it all." And Lupita was like, "Guess I'm going home." And I was like, really? Then what happened? The prosecutor was like, okay. So we did not have all we needed to get her on murder, and double jeopardy has attached, so we can't try her again for murder. This heifer needs to go down. What are we going to do? I have it. Conspiracy. She did arrange for the murder to take place, even though she did not do the actual stabbing, the beatation, the stabation, the fire. Okay. We're going to go back to trial. We're going to try her for conspiracy. And she's like, oh no, I'm not worried about this. I beat murder. Conspiracy. Conspiracy is a walk in the park. So she was like, I'm not going to take the stand, but I'm just going to let my nice public defender here explain to everybody that this was like a oopsie murder. I mean, I meant for them to beat him up. Yes, the text messages show that I was there. And yes, my son testified against me and said I was directing all the traffic and tell him, nope, stab more here, less there, put more lighter fluid around him, giving all the directions. But like, that was a misunderstanding. And the jury was like, right, girl. Okay, we're going to go in the back room and then we're going to come back and let you know. Now the prosecutor's nervous. The prosecutor is like, she beat murder. We don't know about this conspiracy. I mean, she did admit to it when she took the stand, but like, we don't know. So the jury comes back and they're like, we in the great state of Texas, land of all delicious Tex-Mex, because you know it's always about food with me, find Lupita guilty. And so Lupita was like, dang, I beat murder only to go down on conspiracy. Girl, note to self, get a burner phone when you text people. Also, don't unalive your exes, because that's bad. It's bad karma. It's bad all around. Turns out you're not supposed to do that. I think there's a commandment about that. People who live decently and commonly, they understand that unaliving others it's just bad. Plus, people look down on you. I'll be like, oh, yes, I'm a bad driver, but I don't unalive people, like that. So you don't need that judgment. Just go about your daily life, not unaliving people. That is just a pro tip from me to you. So anyway, Lupita is sentenced to 25 years in prison. And she's like, what? My children will be grown when I get out. And everybody else in the world was like, yeah, good girl. That's the way that's supposed to go. We don't want you near nobody. Go on over there and be with your people in the prison. Because out here among the rest of us, no thank you. So as it stands today, Alma still lives in the house. Her children have grown up, sadly without their father. He was very sweet, but he had terrible taste in rebound women. Because this heifer, like, listen, you know what they say. She was clearly crazy and angry and had all kinds of other issues. In the bedroom now, oh, she was full Cirque du Soleil. Oh, she would swing from the hoop. She could do the backflip. She could stick the landing. She was doing everything. Double jointed, double swallowing, doing everything. But you know what she also did? Unalive this dude. So that's a bad move. And also, don't date crazy people. I know. It's a radical statement. And I'm not talking about clinically people with mental illness who need to spend like a Scotia time in a nervous hospital, take some little pills from the doctor to feel better and to calm down. Child, I'm one of those. Anxiety and depression is real. But you know what I don't do? Unalive people. Do I get on the YouTubes and talk crazy about people who commit true crimes? Every day. 2-3 times a day. But what I don't do is drive too fast. I probably drive too slow. And I don't unalive people. So again, I'll reiterate, don't date crazy people. Other than that, have a great safe day and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow for more true crime. Make it a good one.